Welcome to Shaping a Greener Tomorrow, the podcast that dives into the challenges and opportunities shaping the future of the built environment within the UK. I'm Paul Terry, Managing Director at UPOWA, and your host. This season, I'll be speaking to industry-leading experts from across the built environment supply chain. We are here to uncover practical solutions, share our success stories, and offer insights to help navigate the evolving landscape of house building and construction within the UK. Joining me for our very first episode is someone right at the heart of innovation in UK house building, Danielle Michalska-Morris, Senior Group Technical Innovation Manager at Barratt Redrow. Danielle brings over 14 years of experience in low-carbon building design and building services. Over the past decade, she's played a leading role in shaping Barratt Redrow's technical strategy and has worked on many of the company's flagship sites. She's also been a key contributor to some of the industry's most forward-thinking R&D projects, including Z House and eHome 2 at Salford University. She's passionate about making net zero ready homes a commercial reality and ensuring that quality, compliance and innovation always go hand in hand. For our first episode, we will be discussing homes of the future and how we build sustainably to deliver at scale. Danielle, welcome to the UPOWA podcast. It's good to have you here. Very nice to have you. And we're going to ask some key topic questions to Danielle and hopefully have a bit of an enlightening conversation about how we're going to do it. So, welcome, Danielle. Thank you very much. So I suppose to kick things off, we're looking at the design of the future home and also from a Barratt Redrow point of view, the key projects that you've had to drive to actually get that full understanding and the measurements on how we can do it.
I think, the future home standard in itself that we're seeing come out, it's revolutionising what we do with house building, the way in which we design our homes and deliver those homes and in mass. Yeah. So, the future home or that home of the future and what it's going to look like is changing and it's evolving massively. So, we're seeing the introduction or the removal, should I say, of no gas. We're going to have much more airtight homes with more insulation in them. So a very fabric first approach, but then in conjunction with new technologies, efficient services and renewables. We're seeing way more renewables and, from yourself, you will have seen that with the spike in the use of PV across the industry.
In the last quarter, 29% growth on what we've seen with solar on rooftops. So we're really seeing that. We can feel it from here. The numbers coming through UPOWA is very significant now. I think gone are the days where it was a talking plan. It's now being delivered.
Absolutely. So, and I think it's, there's an element of, we talk about homes of the future or the future home, and everyone focuses very much on energy efficiency and where that is, but actually it's much bigger. It's the bigger picture. We've got energy efficiency, we've got water, we've got, for us as a developer, placemaking, there's biodiversity net gain, and then we've also got the buzzword that's being used, embodied carbon. So that's a big one for us to focus on, because we've got UK targets to be net zero carbon by 2050. Yeah. So that embodied carbon part's going to play a big role. And us as a business, we've got targets for 2040 to be zero carbon.
No, it's the same. And, I think with UPOWA being part of the Brickability Group, we're all on that journey as well. Our strategies.
It's a learning curve.
Oh, it's a learning curve, but they're very much aligned with the plan as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I suppose next question I've got is, what are the opportunities for house builders and also supply chain? I mean, it's vast now. The supply chain's huge, but there's also other parameters that are in the way. It's not just about product.
Do you know what? Now more than ever, with the huge drive that we've seen from industry, with changing regulation, the more stringent targets that we're getting, now is the time for opportunities, and it's really, as developers, as a supply chain, product, process, there's so many opportunities out there. But what we actually need to do is we need to work together because we all talk about it. So we need to stop just talking the talk and actually walk the walk. And that's definitely, it's happening. It's changing and we're seeing it. In the last 3 to 4 years, collaboration and partnerships between not just ourselves with other developers, but external businesses or the likes of yourself as a business. But we're seeing that growth. That partnership piece is absolutely massive to generate those opportunities. And nothing stupid, no questions stupid, no new product, no new process. We have a very open door policy at Barratt Redrow. We'll always welcome those new ideas from the weird and the wonderful. And I think there's an element here as well. Industry's changed, that collaboration piece. So we've got the likes of the Future Homes Hub now. So they're really supporting the industry and bridging that gap between not just developers, supply chain, but also government. So we as a business, we sit on a lot of the working groups, whether that be the government ones or the likes of the Future Homes Hub, HBF, the House Building Federation, and others, so we can actually identify those opportunities, but work as an industry together. You know, let's not work in silos. Let's work together for the greater good.
Yeah.
So that's definitely what we're seeing.
You've seen it delivered as well, haven't you? I mean, and the good thing about it, that is once you've got those relationships, it's repeatable. I think once you've got that collaboration piece working well together, you kind of learn each other's path and how things collaborate well.
Yeah.
And we've seen it as well. I mean, we're very fortunate to have partnered with Octopus Energy for zero bills, and UPOWA have been their, you know, sort of leading installer, you know, supplier as well. So, but again, the collaboration piece is the end offering is a fantastic opportunity for the homeowner, you know, people that are living in these homes. So yeah, we've been on that journey as well.
And I think it's that bit you mentioned earlier about what does the home of the future look like, and projects that we've worked on. All of the projects that we've done and delivered. So we've got our Z House at Salford University in conjunction with them. We then moved that on to, excuse me, we moved that onto our eHome 2 in the Energy House with Salford University. So, but we couldn't have done any of that. So those opportunities there were not available without our partnerships, you know, and our supply chain and the universities. And it stems right from anything from academia to the likes of yourself. You know, we can't do any of that without that partnership approach. No,
it's great. And I think with the eHome 2, I mean, that was a fantastic project. We've seen that all over the press, probably one of the biggest ones that we've seen. Fortunately, I was a part of that as well with some of the construction side of it, which was great. But I suppose that was a proper test house. Just explain to us on the Energy House 2 what it's actually done for the understanding of true building products.
It's given us an opportunity to trial and test, monitor, and actually understand that performance in a short window of time. You know, something that we do, but we have to wait for seasons. So it's an environmental chamber and gives us the opportunity to test products, materials, processes, but in different climates. So we can really push those boundaries. You know, that drops to -20, right up to 40 degrees. But we're not having to wait for those seasons. We're not going to wait for winter to trial some of the products that are predominantly heating systems. And that's given us great opportunities to go and look at that.
No, it's great.
It's a fantastic facility. You know, and we've been really fortunate to partner with Salford University and Saint-Gobain and others. But I think we've had 3,000 people or more visit and tours that have been completed.
Wow.
And over 1,500 media articles worldwide.
Wow. That's impressive. That is impressive.
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of really set the tone for us as a business of where we want to go and what we want to do next.
That's really good. And I think from, you know, one of the main things around those sort of test cases and studies is that I suppose everybody will ask the question, is it repeatable? Can you do it at large scale? Because that's one of the big things we're looking at. We've got government targets now, you know, within this government, we're looking at 1.5 million homes.
It's a big target.
It's a big target. And I suppose, you know, from look at us as we're a supplier to you as cradle to grave. So we're, you know, design, estimating, all the way through to install on site. And, you know, there's a lot of moving parts within that. I suppose from a deliverable side of it, though, the labour mix and the labour skill set is going to be a huge demand for what your supply chain is going to do.
Anything is possible, you know, and that's kind of a bit of our mantra going through the industry is, you know, anything is possible, but what we actually need is a clear set of targets, a robust roadmap from government, so we know when these things are coming. We know that it is a key issue in our industry, supply chain, skill shortage. There's a huge ageing demographic. There's a stat that there's 300,000 less construction workers in the UK than there were in 2019. That is a massive gap. But that's where, for us, yes, it's a barrier and it can be seen as blocking some of the innovations going forward, but we need to grab the bull by the horns and take that as an opportunity. And that's where everyone steps in. It's not just for you as a manufacturer and supplier to us to say, well, we've got to sort out the training. We've got to go on that journey with you as well. You know, so as a business, we've got things like our graduate program. We've got apprenticeships, we've got ex-armed forces courses. So, you know, we're really trying to engage with that and partner with the likes of the CITB to see what we can bring forward to help engage the younger generations, you know, show them the industry is a good industry to be in, get involved. Yeah,
exactly. It's kind of making it attractive, isn't it? You know, you see these flashy cranes on site and you want to make that like a big profile. But I suppose it's right. I mean, like, you know, we look at how we do things here and how we upskill and how we train here. You know, we can take people that can, you know, use a tape measure, they can cut twice, they can get the measurements right. But what we're doing is looking at how we can train that industry so that we've got a bit of breadth across it. Because what we don't want to do is be pigeonholed into one area.
You need multi-skills.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And that cross-diversification, I think, is really key and paramount for us to get anywhere near the targets. Because from a supply chain point of view, I think we're in a good position with what we've got with product. It's just how we install it, and also how we install it safely and correctly. Because that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. You know, and that's often, we have these conversations and people talk about energy efficient homes and homes of the future, but we've got to deliver an energy efficient home that's high quality, that's safe, and that's fit for our end user.
Yeah.
You know, none of us have a business if we don't have the customer.
No, absolutely.
That end user is the be all and end all.
Yeah, it is. No, I completely agree. I think we're as UPOWA and the Brickability Group, we're really looking at how we can, you know, as I say, those cross functions are really important. Understanding that we've got breadth of knowledge across all of our divisions and all of our departments, so that there's a true understanding that we've got a crossover, you know, and we can help and assist in other areas where, you know, if you're pigeonholed and you're just concentrating on your day to day, you can be very blinded and not focused on what the bigger picture is. So
it's about being adaptable. I think that's all businesses now. You know, we've seen that coming forward, that as an industry, we're quite stuck in our ways, and it has been. But times are changing and things are moving, and it's now about having that flexibility and being able to adapt to new challenges and move forward.
Yeah. So with innovation, I mean, obviously innovation, it's a growing thing. It happens every day. Everyone comes up with a new idea every minute. Where do you see barriers with innovation? Where are we going to get? Are we going to get to a point where we go, we can't do any more? We've done everything, or is that just going to be a moving feast? How's that going to work?
It's a moving feast, definitely. And I think, but we've touched on it. One of the key barriers is around clarity from government on what's coming.
Yeah.
You know, you will know as a supplier yourself that if we don't know when new regulations are dropping, or we don't even know what's included in that new regulation, what are we forecasting for? You know, and actually then we've got nervousness from the sector. They don't want to invest because they don't want any abortive work or to invest too much money up front. So there's that element of clarity. We definitely need that up front to support innovation. And we also need the new skill sets. You know, as technology comes through, it's all becoming more smart. Everything is much more intricate. So we need those skill sets to bring that on board, so we don't end up stifling innovation by not having the right skill set. We've got to tackle that area too.
It is, and visibility is huge, isn't it? You know, we all need that. You know, we're banking up, you know, what's going to be a grand scale of labour and everything, and without that visibility, I think we're all captured in that same position. So, yeah, I think from us as well, this is where the partnerships really working together. We get a great understanding from Barratt Redrow that, you know, we get good visibility. We know build programs are key. They're key to us. We need to know what stages we're due on site, and also maintaining what that stage is going to look like. So if there's a movement in a program, then there's usually a good reason why. But with that in tune with your regions is that it works well. And I think you're right. But obviously, as we go into a mass scale where we see a huge amount of demand, and also with new ways of construction with MMC, is that they're built quicker.
It can make or break a business, you know, if we kind of go too quickly.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we talk about innovation. I'm fortunate we've got an innovation team at Barratt Redrow. We're a really forward-thinking business. We're definitely supported on that journey. But there needs to be kind of an understanding from senior businesses and leaders around listening and being open-minded. Because often a new innovation comes and they just see it as either a cost or, you know, a barrier in itself to actually moving forward, because people can be so focused on business as usual, what's the day-to-day, not thinking forward. You know, and we talk a lot in the industry about being proactive and not being so reactive. So there's definitely that element. And as I say, we're really fortunate in our business because we are, well, we like to think so, you know, we're really proactive in that space.
Yeah, that's good. So really, I mean, you know, from a developer point of view, there are barriers. Again, we're all talking about communication, how we can, you know, overcome the skills gap by, you know, cross training, upskilling, those kind of things. And I think from those areas, and also as a whole, what for Barratt Redrow, what's been the key learnings? Like how we talk a lot about, like we've gone so far, we've built the Energy House 2, we've learned how systems work, how they all go together. What's the key learnings though, and how do we take that to a mass market?
There's two real key ones that stick out. We've learned so much, right down to kind of granular information about individual products and processes and how we deliver those, how we install them, how we commission them, how we make them right for the consumer. But the big ones, and it's probably going to end up being a theme of today's chat that we've had, is the two key lessons is we cannot physically deliver the homes that we need without our partners. It is all about that cross collaboration, making sure that we engage early, engaging with government. We need to be there shaping the way that future legislation evolves. It can't just come down to us and we then, as we mentioned, just, oh, that's what we've got to do. We've got to be proactive and we've got to support that. Yeah. So that's a big one. It's about the collaboration piece and engaging early. And the second one, and I'm probably people are going to be bored of hearing me say this because I say it in every conversation, it's our consumer. We are building these homes. There's more technology in them. That they're ever changing. They're not like they used to be. We're removing gas for a start. Once we get to that point, so we've got to get that consumer on the journey with us, because there's no point in us building the best house in the world, most energy efficient. It can be of high quality, and if a customer gets in there and they just don't know how to operate that home or use it efficiently, it's no longer efficient. And we need to support them on that journey. We are seeing a change. There's definitely a shift with the customer journey and their expectations. Yeah. But still, an end user, they buy a house because it's the right house in the right location for the right price. Good schools. Energy efficiency is moving up, but it's still not the priority.
No, yeah, again, I completely agree, resonate, absolutely. We see, obviously, with the renewable sector, we're heavy into that area. That's our key goal for and our key delivery for the industry. But we see technology getting smarter. Everybody wants to control from one point to have the whole home doing that. But you're right, we also get the homeowner that starts tweaking things, because it's just like the old Range Rover that they used to have, that they used to play with the engine. It's exactly that. And it's kind of the learning side of this is absolutely huge, isn't it? As a homeowner, you want to walk in and everything as a new build, you think, oh, it's all right, it's all working fine, but I'll still like to have a tweak with things.
Yeah, but you do. It's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just what does that button do? Oh, we'll just it's there, we'll touch, we'll go. Yeah. And I think it's that education piece to the consumer, but it's taking opportunities as well to start educating them on how their homes can be better and lifestyle decisions. But you have to be really careful, because it's their home and it's how they want to live. So the home needs to be intuitive. It needs to be self-sufficient, rather than, they don't need reams of information to read and understand. It should be intuitive how to use. Yeah. So that's a big challenge we've got, to try and transfer that and bring those customers on our journey, definitely.
So Danielle, we talk about innovation. Is it UK spawn, or have you been overseas to have a look at what other people and what other countries do?
I touched earlier about innovation and kind of no ideas silly, and like we've got an open door policy, but we learn from everywhere. Not just UK, not even Europe. We will go further afield. So we've had some good trips. We've had Oliver Novakovic, who's in our team. He's been over to Japan, so we can learn from how they build. We've had visits out to America to understand how their timber frame construction works, because obviously we're increasing our use of timber frame and modern methods of construction. So we've been out there to have a look. The European market is really big on tech, anything linked to kind of heat pumps and hot water cylinders and all that type of stuff. So we've been over to Denmark, Sweden, Holland, so we can learn from them and how they're doing it. But it's a bigger piece. We don't just look at the house building industry. We talk about innovation in house building, and often the link automatically is, what are other countries doing in house building? We kind of don't draw the line there. What are the automotive companies doing? How are they innovating and bringing new products to market? The buzzword around is AI. Everyone talks about AI. That's obviously that is cross-functional across all industries, all platforms. We're seeing that come in more, and that we've talked about being smart. So it's understanding actually how can we link some of that other industries that are already well advanced with smart technology and how things interact and communicate. So absolutely, we're taking all of those lessons from other industries and also other countries and bringing them back here to share with our partners and understand what we can do and how we can implement that into the house building sector. And I think we've done a lot of that at Salford in the Energy House and the eHome too. And probably the bigger picture for us, we always get asked the question, is that house that we've built in there, is that the pinnacle? Is that what we see for the future? And in short, yes and no. There's elements of that house that absolutely, we wanted to build a very traditional looking house, something that's standard, that people wouldn't, look at and it looked like a spaceship or anything out of the ordinary. but there's some elements in there that just, they won't work. There's not a one solution fits all out there.
Yeah.
You know, we have quite a broad array of different house types and configurations. We have smaller 2-bed homes right up to big 5-bed, larger detached. We have room in roofs. We have masonettes, flats. So there's not going to be that one solution that fits all. So it's about taking opportunities where we can test them in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
You know, look at lots of, we would never put all the tech that we have in some of these trial homes in one home, but we will absolutely take the lessons learned and take elements of that out and then put them on what we would call live trial sites.
Yeah, amazing.
And even them live trial sites, you know, we don't say, oh, here's a 200 unit site, we're going to go and do it on all of them.
No.
We would just take a few exemplar homes, often show homes, so we can actually look at the product, install it, understand it how it is. But we also make sure that we can take that out if we don't think it's right. So we've got a right end product for the customer on that.
That's really good. Yeah, it's fortunate, isn't it? I think with the sales, it's not obviously on the critical path, so you're not sale dependent. With a show home, it's perfect, isn't it, to trial those innovations?
It is, but then we also, you know, we need to get buy-in from the customers as well. Yeah. So we're actually looking at live sites where we are selling them on the open market,
right.
But getting that customer engagement early. So, you know, at the point of them coming in and looking at explaining to them, we've got these X number of homes that have got new technology in, and hold their hand on that journey and ask them if they want to be part of it, and also allow us to get data and monitor and test, because that's the only way we're going to learn.
Yeah,
you know, by getting that feedback from who better than the actual customer that's going to live in the home.
Of course, absolutely. And I suppose just touching on that, obviously with the Barratt Redrow now, so obviously you've got new house types, which has been great. How's the redesign work been going with that? How's it all coming together with Barratt Redrow?
So we've kind of got two elements. We obviously now have a much broader portfolio to cater for different needs. So we are still keeping all brands. You know, we're not removing any of the brands associated. So we've got Barratt, which is kind of more of your first-time buyer starter. We've got David Wilson, which is a premium brand and probably someone that's looking to upsize. And then we've got Redrow, which is a really kind of key focus of what they call our downsizers. So people that are coming from larger properties and still want really high quality homes. So we've got a broad array, and we won't change that. We'll keep that product mix. Yeah. There's definitely some work that we need to look at in terms of house type designs as we move to the future, because we're moving away from gas boilers. A lot of the smaller homes have combi boilers in, so they don't have cylinders. So that space isn't allocated in a home. So we've really got to think about how we're designing those homes and how they work, and how we're going to start fitting this technology in without impacting the customer.
Of course.
So we're seeing space standards come in. Homes are going to grow. There's definitely that we're going to see. There's going to be a shift in the way in which we design. And I think, we've probably not touched on it, but around overheating. Yeah. We had the new, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Hot topic.
Sorry.
But we saw the new building regulation, Part O, the overheating reg come in. And that's changing and informing the way in which we have to build our homes, because we've got restrictions on how far we can open windows. We've got full protection set at 1100. So we've got to start looking how we design our windows as well. And whether that's proportions of windows, whether it's openable areas of windows. So we're definitely seeing a shift of regulation dictating and planning. We see strict planning and design codes. So there's a shift in the way in which we design.
Yeah. No, it's good. And a hell of a lot of lessons learned.
A lot of lessons learned. And, you learn as you go. No business is perfect. And I think that's probably one thing that, we'd all love to be perfect at what we do straight away. But the only way you're going to improve and get better is by learning from the mistakes that you've made. Yeah. But a big one for us is about consumer insight as well. So we've spoke before about having kind of consumer focus groups, asking those questions. So rather than us just sitting in a little huddle between us all and coming up with some ideas, let's put them out there. Let's speak to those actual purchasers and ask them what they want, what do they expect, what do they want to do, so we can make sure we're actually designing and delivering that high quality home that they want. Not just that what we want or we think they want. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same with us as a contractor point of view. We're always looking out to be the best. How can we make things even better? How do we make your life easier on site? And, we reach out to our client base on a regular basis now for feedback. That feedback's been critical. It's really, really pushed us to our...
Nothing better than feedback.
It's been brilliant.
And, often you only get feedback if it's negative.
Yeah.
That's what you find. Yeah. And, you don't get any praise for when it's good. We are massive believers in asking for that feedback. I would rather someone say, oh, actually, that's not quite right, or you could do this, or look at that, because, as I said, no idea is silly, and that's the only way we learn and we evolve and things can get better. So, and it's one thing that the supply chain in general, the wider supply chain to the construction industry are definitely on that journey of all becoming innovators.
Yeah.
As a house builder, we've started setting challenges, or, we're coming across some hurdles with the regulations and more stringent targets, and we're setting challenges to the wider supply chain, and you're all coming up with answers, and it's great.
Yeah.
And not in silos. We're doing it together. I think
that's where it works, isn't it? That collaboration piece across.
Yeah, we're no longer all competitors and working against each other.
Yeah.
We're all doing it together. And there's something I've said before to our supply chain. More often than not, people talk about competitors and they're like, "Well, you sell PV, so your competitor is going to be another PV supplier." It isn't always the case, because the way in which we look at our houses and the way we design them and the specifications, it's all about product performance and how we meet our targets, whether that's the carbon target, the energy targets.
Yeah.
So you're trading off between lots of different products and different things. So we just all need to work together.
So Danielle, we talk about the 1.5 million target with this government, and it's a big stretch. It's going to be a lot of hard work. What are Barratt Redrow looking to do to try and assist with that? Is there other ways of technology or building methods?
Yeah, do you know what? We've been on this journey for a long time now, because there's always been a housing shortage. We know that's not just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That target is much higher, but we've had that as an issue, and we recognised that a long time ago. And absolutely, alternative build methods, modern methods of construction are going to help towards meeting those targets. Anything that we can speed the delivery of build up, but not just about the speed, it's about efficiency that we can have, looking at waste. So we actually introduced timber frame into our business, and we've heavily invested in that. So we've got our own timber frame manufacturer at Oregon. Yep. So we've invested in that area, and we're seeing an increase in the use of timber frame across our business. And not just from our business, we're actually getting requests for, whether it be land bids or planning applications, requesting modern methods of construction or timber frame or alternative methods of construction. Right. So we're definitely seeing a growth in that. And it's not just that. We've looked at with steel frame systems, we've looked at volumetric, we've looked at different panelised systems, how can we enhance systems? And it's finding that sweet spot that's, actually commercially attractive, but also can deliver high quality and work for both sides of the business.
Yeah.
And timber frame really strikes that balance for us. So we've got quite a strong focus there on timber frame.
That's good. That's great. Well, listen, Danielle, thank you very much for your time. I don't want to keep you too long. You're very welcome. Hope you enjoyed the biscuits.
Yes, always chocolate biscuits and a cup of tea. It's
That's
a winner.
The winner. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you again, Danielle.
Thank you.
Subscribe now to Shaping a Greener Tomorrow on your favourite podcast platform. Tune in and join the conversation as we inspire change to help shape a more sustainable future for the built environment.